Aging is hell, okay? It's hell on earth. I don't have to tell most of you that, you know. This is not a room full of, like, blissfully clueless millennials. We are people who've been around the block here. Some of us have been around the entire neighborhood. We know getting older is not for sissies. It's crazy hard, 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 hard. For women, you know, you might have hated getting catcalled on the street, and I surely did when I lived in New York, the catcalling capital of America. But you know, it's a different kind of challenge to be, you know, as invisible as cellophane, because, you know, older women, that's what happens to us. For guys, it's the same thing. You were once a hunk, and now you're just Hank. As Kurt Vonnegut, our baby boomer hero, brilliantly put it, so it goes, so it goes. And so I go to therapy. I need it to keep me centered with the background that I had. I'll always be a person with a history of depression and a propensity toward depression. That said, I'm a pretty resilient gal. Took a heck of a lot of grit and stamina to make the journey from KooKooLand East to KooKooLand West. It's been a long, tough road, a lot of hard work on myself. And I can stand here in front of you tonight and say, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of how hard I worked to make that journey. You've got to take some credit for your successes, because there are so many non-successes along the way that could have derailed you. But still, I have my vulnerable spots, my weaknesses, and let's face it, so do you. You may not have had a childhood as Dickensian as mine, but you've got wounds too. You've got weaknesses. Human beings, you know, we're not Supermen or Wonder Women. Those are comic book characters, for Christ's sake. If anything, comic book-wise, the character I think we most resemble is Archie. Poor hapless Archie, you know, perpetually torn between the Bettys and Veronicas of our lives. You know, between this job and that job, and the chicken or the fish for dinner. Have children or don't have children. We certainly can't have it both ways. You know, we can't have it all. Wanting it all. I've often observed you sometimes end up with nothing. We make choices, some conscious, some totally unconscious, and other things fall by the wayside. A big part of mental health for me personally is facing and embracing the choices that I've made, even the bad ones, especially the bad ones. Therapy helps me to do that. And I don't know about you, but in these trying times that we're living in, I need all the help I can get. Beyond the personal challenges I mentioned, like getting older, there are all the global challenges. I need tools to try to make sense of all the chaos and horror that we seem to be in the grip of right now. Some days it can seem like an act of courage just to get out of your pajamas, to not let the state of the world just drag you down, to not give in to panicky thoughts on a global scale. You know, North Korea's gonna nuke us, and you know, Russia's gonna hack us, and climate change is gonna sink us. Sometimes it's hard not to feel that as a species, we've really lost our way. Doesn't mean we can't find it again, but I feel like we all need to do some soul searching. To that end, I wish every single person on this planet could go to therapy. And I most definitely wish every single person in Washington would go to therapy. Because I have to say, right now, kind of feels like I'm back living in Jimmy world. Harsh, aggressive, insulting, violent, not to mention sexist, racist, anti-Semitic. Jimmy was all those things too, for those of you who had read the book. No. You know, when I wrote this book, I couldn't have imagined, really, that it would be as starkly relevant today as it turned out to be. Those toxic attitudes from the 60s and 70s that I wrote about, they're still with us. But it just goes to show that mental illness, whether individual or collective, you know, if it goes untreated, it just festers and it comes back. So I just keep reminding myself that I survived my time living in chaos. I faced down a bully, and hopefully with some courage and luck, we can all do the same. Face down all the bullies out there.